From American Uranium, we have CEO Bruce Lane. Now, drilling for 2025 has wrapped at the Lo Herma Project in Wyoming. And I know we have some results to discuss. You have hit your best intercept to date. Bruce, tell us all the highlights.
Yeah, hi Danielle. Great to be back with you. Look, we said that we were going to drill 50 holes this calendar year, and so we've managed to get that concluded. We've had a great run with the weather for the most part, and we wrapped up at the back end of last week. And what we got from the program was the key thing, apart from getting some good intercepts, which I think you just mentioned that the best one was over 7.5 meters at a grade thickness of 1.41, which is great to see coming out of the ground. It really helps us with confidence around the thicknesses and grades for in situ recovery mining. But the key thing we were really trying to achieve there was to extend the trends and the strike to the north of both of our proposed mine units 1 and 2. So when we put out our scoping study earlier this year, we obviously identified the mine unit areas based on current resource, and what we were looking to do is extend the trends to the north through testing the exploration targets. And the great thing was that we managed to define a combined up to 3,000 meters, 3 kilometers, 10,000 feet of new trends that we had identified that we wanted to test. So we'd always like to put more holes in, and we'd always like to keep going, but we've drawn a line under it for 2025, and there's an evaluation of that, which will really kick in early January when the team are back from their break.
And once that desk work wraps up, I imagine by then you will have the final report that we've been waiting for on the hydro-geological testing. Can you tell us what else we have to look forward to early next year, and what are those big milestones moving forward now for Lo Herma?
Yeah, the Petrotech, who did our hydrogeology testing or our pump testing and completed that a couple of weeks ago, are due to furnish us with a draft report any day now. So we'll spend some time with that and get it ready for publishing, and that's likely to be in the new year, but we will have the report at least in draft format in the next few days. That, along with our analysis of the drilling results from this program we've just finished, we'll go into our modelling, and we'll have a look at what that tells us. There may be some opportunities to do some more exploration extension holes in the new year. We've got permits in place to do that. We can get in and drill in January if that's what's indicated. So we'll see what that process yields. We're very confident that the drilling that we've conducted will deliver additional pounds into the resource, and of the ilk that we were trying to achieve. We really want to push the deposit. The global resource currently at the moment on the deposit is 8.57 million pounds. And our first objective is to try and get that to as close as we can to 10 million pounds, preferably over that, but we'll see what happens. So we may do a little bit more exploration drilling in the new year, put out a resource update in the new year, and then we've got an infill program permitted to follow up. So we've got quite a bit of work to do in the new year. And, hopefully the uranium price keeps strengthening, and, the conditions are good to keep moving.
Well, you did mention it there. Uranium prices have been strong lately, and it's a very suitable time of year to ask you the question, what do you reckon is the outlook for uranium?
Yes, it's the perennial question. What's the uranium price going to be in 2026? Plenty of voices saying it's going to be north of where it is. So the term price looks like it's around $86. To the extent that term price is truly, transparent and indicative, and I think there's a real question over whether it is. But nevertheless, it's at $86, which is pretty good. I think when we did our scoping study, we used a price, a range of prices. And it looked like it would break even potentially at $65. So, it's in a good spot, but really the industry seems to be looking for at least around $100 as a true incentive price to get additional investment and new projects out of the ground. And I think, that sort of makes sense at this point, given the cost escalation generally in the environment, in all environments, and around the cost of getting things constructed and doing business, and the fact that new capital obviously is looking to get a better return for their money by taking all the risk. And so I think what we're seeing is the uranium price is still short of really providing an incentive to new capital and risk capital to come in. Spot prices, been hovering around that sort of mid 70s. I think it's almost touching sort of $79, $80 in the last few days. So clearly we're still well short, I think, of what you would call the incentive price to get new projects delivered. But the general consensus seems to be, with all of the positive sentiment in the world, and particularly in the US, where there's a huge focus on nuclear and the nuclear fuel supply chain, supported by the current administration in the US, that we'll see an uptick in the price in the new year at some point. So generally very positive, a lot to look forward to, and lots of activity in the company that can add value and show the path forward to developing an in situ recovery uranium project in Wyoming in the Powder River Basin.
Bruce, it's always fantastic to get your insights, and thank you also for those updates on Lo Herma.
Great. Thanks, Danielle. Good to talk to you, and we'll talk again in the new year.